Hello everyone, Sash here. Today I'm here with an updated version of my Skystriker deck profile. So a couple things I want to preface before this. First off, yes, I'm posting two of the same deck in a row. I'm moving away from Blue Eyes and focusing super hard on Skystriker. It's my main deck right now. There's nothing else that I have. So outside of decks that my friends are running, this is going to be probably the only deck that gets updates from me. Second off, obviously ban list updated, so a couple things have been changed. And then third, I've got a lot of new cards, and that puts this deck more expensive than it used to be. It's less budget, you could say. Totaling this deck at its cheapest is around $760, and I'm not going to be able to list every single budget alternative in that video itself because I like to keep my videos short. So if you have any questions about any cards that can be a budget replacement, just let me know in the comments and I'll definitely try to answer as many of you as I can. So starting off with the main deck for the Skystriker package, 3 copies of Ray and 2 copies of Rose. I think this is standard. Only 2 Rose because of another card that I'm playing. For the rest of the Sky package, 3 copies of Widow Anchor, 2 copies of Shizuku, 2 copies of Shark Cannon, 1 copy of Engage, 1 copy of Multi-Roll, 1 copy of Drone, 1 copy of Area Zero, 1 copy of Afterburners. Thinking of bumping this up to 2, but 1 is fine. I prefer 2 Cannon, 1 Burner. And then my 41st card is the Eagle Booster. I personally don't know what I'd cut for it. Maybe an Effect Veiler. And I'll get to that later, but I do really like this card when it shows up. So I think this being a 41st card isn't that bad at all. It's not hindering to the deck whatsoever. Then I am running the Fusion Destiny package, or the DP package still. It shows up. I'm still testing this because I'm going back and forth between 4 different builds. This is the one that I've been running the most because this is a blind second deck. And so I have 2 builds. I have no DPE builds and DPE builds. 2 blind second, 2 blind first. But I like blind second better because you don't have to rely on winning the die roll. Losing the die roll is actually winning for you because 99% of decks want to go first. For Power 1-ofs, 1 copy of Rhoda, 1 copy of Terraforming, 1 copy of Called By, 1 copy of Mystic Mine. I know the deck list that just recently won the YCS was playing a bunch of Mystic Mines. I don't like heavy Mystic Mine builds. I don't know, like I understand they're super good, but they're not going to be as good anymore since people are going to main deck removal. I think 1 is fine, 2 is the most, but I wouldn't run Demise the Land or anything like that. And then I'm running 1 copy of Change of Heart because it's goated, and 2 copies of Pot of Prosperity. Those are some new cards that make this way more expensive than it used to be. And this is also the reason why I'm only on 2 rows, because 5 stars in a pot is pretty good. Moving on, rest of going second cards. 3 copies of Ash, 3 copies of Veiler. This is what I meant by this is a card that you could cut down to make it 40. But because I'm no longer on Bell, I'm just main decking 2 copies of DD Crow. That's why I like 6 tuners, because that way the access code package is always live. And then for the rest, we have 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence and 3 copies of Evenly Matched. I like Evenly Matched a lot. Like, yes, you sacrifice your battle phase, but against any token decks, you leave the token. Despia, Lightning Storm sucks because of Branded Opening. Branded Opening just protects the fusions. So Evenly also just gets rid of their material so they don't have anything in the graveyard. So that's why I like Evenly. Yeah. Moving on to the side deck before I get to the extra deck. I run 2 copies of Token Collector. Just to say no to Sword Soul even more than this deck already says no to Sword Soul. I also run 1 copy of Titaniclad the Ash Dragon. This is a very broken card. You can steal your opponent's Fallen Volbas from the graveyard using Dark or Shark Cannon and fuse into this, and it becomes a giant body that you can attack with and then link off into Zeke, or if you didn't use Dark to take this, you can use Dark. Additionally, if you steal their Mirror Jade with Change of Heart, Shark Cannon, or Dark, you can use Mirror Jade's effect, sending a Titaniclad, and banishing a monster on the field. So this is why this is just such a good side option. And I normally take the DPE out of my side deck because I don't keep the DPE in because of Super Poly. A lot of times DPE going first, like They'll normally like super poly your Ray or something, which is all right as long as you have something else as follow up. Um, but as long as like you can bait out the super poly and get your DPE like going and popping and popping and popping and popping, which again isn't as good because branded fusion or branded opening, but it's still definitely good to cycle for their set branded in reds and shenanigans like that. Spells, 2 copies of Dark Ruler. This is strictly because at my locals, one of the Dino players has Nat Beast, and yikes, Nat Beast kind of turns this deck off, so I have to put these in. 2 copies of Cosmic Cyclone. Just get rid of any problematic cards like not Mystic Mine. Mystic Mine you don't care about. What's the card's name? Anti-spell. Yeah. And then 3 copies of D-Barrier because it's good. 2 copies of Trap Tricks because it's just as good because it is another D-Barrier. And then 3 copies of Summon Limit. This is everything when you want to go first. Like, for example, against Despia, sometimes you'll want to go first because if you're siding, like, if you're playing blind second, a lot of the times they might force you to go first. And if you can call that, then citing this in works. And even if you don't, you still have enough stuff. And this is really good follow-up to stop Despia and stuff. So yeah, that's it for my side deck. Moving on to the extra deck. Before I do, Field Center, Dokkan. Alright, let's go to the extra deck. 3 copies of Kagari. Pretty simple. 3 copies of Shizuku. I really want to cut this down to 2 for a second Zeke sometimes. But normally what I banish off of Prosp, so also 2 Hayate, 1 Kaina, and 1 Zeke. What I banish off of Prosperity is I banish a Shizuku, a Hayate, and the Dark Charmer, which we'll get to in a second. So yeah, I kind of want to run a second Zeke, but it's not always necessary, so I'm still figuring that out. And then lastly, 1 copy of the Dark Charmer, super good against Despia, super good against any deck that still runs DPE. The Access Code package, I understand it's expensive, but it's really worth it. It's like $100 package now because this skyrocketed because of the Skytop, but this just secures so many games. It's absurd, and I enjoy using it so much. And then obviously 1 copy of DPE to round it off. I don't know if DPE is going to stay. I'll post updates in the comments if I decide that this is just bad. But this is what's been working. This is what I've been testing. And I just wanted to show you, some of the random shenanigans that I've been on with this stupid deck. So yeah, let me know if you have any questions at all. Subscribe, like, all that jazz. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.